Competition running for best photo. We have a prize for a photo that we pick at around 4:30 p.m. So if you're looking to participate into it and win the prize, which is our official logbook, please upload to social media and tag it with #WCMP. All right. So next up is Jinendra Pogare. He's from India and he's a accomplished solution architect and fraud prevention expert. He's been doing that for 14 years now. He's the founder of SenseFX and specializes in combating online frauds. Today's talk is about securing e-commerce, advanced fraud prevention strategies for online stores. So he's going to talk about the best practices. He's also going to talk about how you can figure out if your e-commerce store is on attack and everything in between. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jinendra Pogare.
Hi, I am Jinendra Pogare. So before I share about me, I want to ask first, how many of you know about WooCommerce? Nice. And how many of you are using it for yourself or maybe your customers or clients? Okay, good. And how many of you are familiar with fraud? Have you heard about fraud? Nice. So this session will be exciting for you then. First, let me share about myself. I'm a solution architect and fraud prevention expert. And I have been a full stack developer and I have developed products since about 14 years now. And the last 45 years I have dedicated myself on combating fraud. That is, I have helped online businesses in reducing frauds on their platform. That is how I got to know that the problem is really big. So that is how we came up with SenseFX. And I'll come about what that is and how we help businesses in a short while. And when I'm not doing all of this, I'm basically a passionate runner and cyclist. Today I had done a run from Tamil to Pashupatinath temple and the weather was really good. So thanks to God for the weather, I had really good amount of fun. Okay, so first let me share on how much of a big problem this is. So out of the global e-commerce fraud problems, I would say about 30% of them target specifically WooCommerce. So this is a very, I would say, growing business, including the backhand side and the right-hand side. Based on a 2023 report, this was a $48 billion industry, and right now it's already growing exponentially. So as this business is booming, of course, the white hat, that is the methods to stop these frauds from happening, is also booming. And out of these, I would say, if I have to specifically talk about WooCommerce, credit card fraud is something that is booming right now. 8% of the WooCommerce fraud out there are contributed through credit cards. And the major problem out there is for each $1 of fraud that happens, businesses spend about $4 in order to manage them. I'll tell you how that really happens in a short time. Okay, so whenever a fraud happens on any platform, the first and foremost thing that affects the business is trust. So each week, if you're following fraud, you will see that there is a data breach happened here, there was data breach that happened in Uber, there was a data breach that happened in Zomato as well, which is one of the food delivery apps in India. There was a data breach that happened in Equifax as well. So many of them are facing data breaches. So as soon as such kind of fraud happens, the first thing that you lose is trust, customer trust. Then the second thing that you lose is basically operational challenges. So whenever any fraud happens, you have to first talk to the customer, you have to communicate with them, you have to say that please don't post negative reviews, we'll refund your money, we'll try to solve your problem. So you have to allocate time and resources. So that is something that affects the business as well. Or there are regulatory penalties as well. If someone has filed for a chargeback or dispute, are you familiar with chargeback or dispute? Okay, nice. So chargeback, those who don't know, chargeback is something where you can say that there is a payment that has happened on your credit card and you're saying that the transaction was not done by you. So you file for a chargeback. And if it is indeed not done by you, you get the refund from the merchant. So these penalties can also affect the business. So all of this all together directly or indirectly affects the financial part as well of the business. So they lead to financial losses as well. Now due to these businesses, due to these impacts, this definitely affects business. So I've shared how much big of a problem is this and how it affects the business at the same time. Now what are the different methods through which these frauds happen? Have any of you heard any kind of fraud, any types of fraud that you're familiar with? Anyone, any name that you're familiar with? Like in India, there is a common fraud, UPI fraud happens. Someone will basically send you a QR code, you scan it, and they say that they are giving you money, but actually money debits from your account. So such kind of various frauds are available. So I'll just cover a few types of e-commerce fraud out there. First is account takeover. Account takeover is basically stealing something. That can happen through two ways: credential cracking or credential stealing. That is, say that I have my friend's email. So what I'll do is basically I'll enter the email, I'll try various password combinations. If there is a hit, I'm successfully inside his account. Now when I'm inside his account, there might be some financial information that is stored, credit card or bank details. I can use that to perform transactions. So say that I want to steal something, I want to place some free orders on the e-commerce platform. So what I do, I'll try to either steal someone's account or I'll try to create a fake account, and using that I'll try to perform a transaction to purchase something on the platform. So ATO is one of the foremost methods. I would say the frauds that happen on that, 1/3 of the frauds happen through ATO. Now second is new account. New account is basically fake registration. If you are using WordPress, you might be familiar with it. If you have turned on comments, within a week you see that thousands of fake comments are there on your account, right? In the same way, many of the WooCommerce platforms face fake registrations issue as well. Tons of fake accounts get created. When you have marketing campaigns running, so it leads to financial loss as well. So, and imagine you being a fraudster. Suppose that you have someone's credit card details. What's the first thing that you'll do? You'll create a fake account, right? You'll enter some fake information, some gibberish name, email. You'll create an account. Then the stolen credit card you'll use and you'll try to purchase something on the platform. And if it is a hit, then you'll repeat the orders. You'll place multiple orders. Until it works, you'll try to continuously place orders. So new account and ATO are the methods through which it's an entry point to perform any kind of fraud. Third are bot fraud. If you're using WordPress, again, you're already familiar with bots. Bots do everything. Bots write comments. Bots do ATO fraud. They basically try to steal someone's account. They try to create fake registrations as well. They try to place orders as well. Bots nowadays do everything, especially in the day and age of AI. So this is one of the most common types of fraud out there. Fourth is card testing, which is very prevalent right now. On the dark web, you can easily purchase databases of credit cards. So what these people do is, these are called as kiddies. What they do is they basically download these databases. It's either available for free, otherwise they'll purchase it on dark web. And what they do is they'll basically get a tool, they'll run the tool, and that tool will basically try various combinations and try to see if there is a hit. If they observe hit, then that is when the fraud begins. You basically again continuously place orders and try to purchase on the platform. So card testing is one of the common out there. Fifth is friendly fraud. This is the problem of the hour right now. All banks are facing it. Like I mentioned, there is a food delivery app in India called as Zomato. Here I think I've seen Pathao. So they use that for placing orders. So what the customer does is he'll place an order for food. So when the food is delivered at his doorstep, he'll hit the customer service up. He'll say, I did not receive the order. I want my refund. So he'll get the refund and he'll get the free food as well. So this is a classic example of friendly fraud. So it's very difficult to identify. And he is a genuine customer. You don't want to hurt him. Otherwise, you go and post bad reviews, right? There is another fraud which is chargeback fraud, wherein you are using someone else's credit card to perform the same thing. So that is called as chargeback fraud. So friendly fraud and chargeback fraud are very difficult to identify. The sixth one is promo abuse. So this is a very interesting one. You have observed that in many e-commerce sites, on sign up, you get some offers, 10% off, 20% off for just the new accounts. So what people do is basically they use one email to create one account. sisters email to another account, brothers email to them, create another account, and they continuously try to abuse it. In some of the gaming platforms, what happens is, on sign up, you get some 1,000 rupees. Say that it's an online casino. On sign up, you get 1,000 rupees. But what they say is to withdraw, you need at least 5,000 in your account. So what these fraudsters did was, in one of the examples with our customers, they sign up with one account, then they use their friends and relatives to create multiple accounts. So they'll create 6 different accounts and transfer of money is allowed. So what they do is they'll transfer everything in one account, and they have 6,000 rupees. You will withdraw it out. So this is one of the common types of fraud out there. So such kind of frauds are the different ways how they are performing the fraud. Now, if I have to tackle this problem, what are the different challenges that e-commerce store owners face? The first and foremost is that there are lack of built-in solutions available on WooCommerce. Very limited features. Like for an example, WooCommerce allows you to do manual review. If you are getting, say, hundreds of orders every day, you are not going to sit and manually review each and every order, right? So that is one of the challenges. Maybe you can apply some rate limiting, but still the features are very limited. Second is scalability issues. As the stores start growing, you'll have to focus on the business. You don't have much time to focus towards fraud. So as scalability starts, fraud also evolves. You'll get more and more fraud problems. Maybe when you were a small store, nobody was bothering much. But as the business grows, the fraud problems also grows. So it gets difficult to allocate time and resources there. Third are evolving fraud tactics. The fraudsters are evolving like anything. You might have seen examples where even KYCs are performed by AI bots right now. So they'll show a driving license and the face is of the driving license owner, but some other guy will be behind it. In the recent example, there was a Chinese guy who was showing himself as an American. And when the card just came in front of his face, his real face was revealed. So as the fraud tactics are evolving, it's very difficult for it to keep up with these evolving fraud tactics. Fourth one is lack of expertise among store owners. Because as we're focusing on business, we might not have the required expertise to tackle these fraud problems. So how do we tackle this? I have given, majorly these 6 methods will work out. First is automated risk scoring. I'll cover that in a short while. So first thing that basically you have to do is device fingerprinting. You have to start noticing on when your users are coming, what is the good user behavior, what is the bad user behavior. You can implement machine learning as well to identify what is the good user behavior. When the user, if he is a genuine user, he will come and try to basically access the shop pages, right? He'll try to access different products on the page and he'll try to purchase. Whereas the fraudster, as soon as he log in, he'll go to password change page. He'll try to change the password. Otherwise, he'll straight away jump to payment page and see if he can steal some payment information. So this goes towards one of the bad behaviors. So you have to continuously observe, and this is called device fingerprinting, wherein basically you notice when is the user coming, what are the different devices that they are using, what are the different locations that they are using. Just for an example, if a user has logged in, say from Kathmandu right now, and within 5 minutes is logging in from Pokhran, you can't reach from here to Pokhran in 5 minutes, right? So that is again a bad user behavior. So you have to implement device fingerprinting. You also have to implement rules. Rules work like anything. You can implement as many rules as possible. Maximum frauds can be stopped then and there. One of the classic examples being, if from a certain example, continuously COD orders are getting placed and those are fraudulent orders, the orders are getting stolen. In that case, maybe you can flag it as manual review. So each time from a certain location order is placed, it goes for manual review. But for the others, it will be automated. Such kind of rules implemented. Then of course activity monitoring is there. You have to continuously monitor what orders are getting placed, from where are they getting placed. Are they observing any abnormalities? Say that same items are being purchased, cart always the same items are placed and repeatedly 10 to 12 orders getting placed. That is an abnormal activity. Why say that you are purchasing lipstick? Why are you purchasing the same lipstick again and again and again and again? So that is basically from activity monitoring is also essential. And behavioral analytics, that is the most important factor. You might spoof your IP, you might spoof your device, you might spoof everything other than the human part. So basically you have to focus on the human part. What is the behavioral analytics of that user? Just for a classic example, if I am accessing the mobile through my left hand and the fraudster has stolen my account. He has logged in and he is accessing the device through his right hand. That is a change in behavior, right? So this is an example of how we can identify the patterns in change in behavior. Say that the user usually opens the store around in the evening 8 p.m. and checks what are the products. And all of a sudden we are seeing that he is logged in the night at 3 a.m. So that is again a change in behavior. So we can do this behavioral analytics, identify the behavior specific to a certain user, and if there is a deviation, then we can flag it. Blacklisting is one of the most easiest ones. You see that some fraud has happened from a certain IP, blacklisted. You see that some user account is being used for fraudulent activities, blacklisted. This is the most easiest one to implement, and there are many plugins available for that as well. Now all of this together aids in creating risk coding. So each session, whenever any order is getting placed or whenever any login is happening, using device fingerprinting and rules, we can assign a certain risk code. Say that I am using my usual device, my usual location, and I am logging in. That is a safe login. So device risk score would be 0. And what I am observing is the device is new, the location is new, and from there he is trying to log in. Then there can be some risk score associated with it. See that we are having a risk score varying from 0 to 100. So it can be somewhere around 15 or 20 risk score because some deviation is observed. But we can't say that this is a fraud, right? This might be you traveling. So some risk score can be adjusted. Now based on the risk scores that we observe, we can give decisions. Now whatever risk scores we have, we can categorize them as low, medium, high and critical. Low being absolutely safe, medium being some suspicious activities are observed. In that case, you can intimate them. Like in case of Gmail, if you have accessed Gmail from a new device, you get an email saying there is suspicious activity observed. Then it will ask you to verify. Then you enter some 2-digit number, you verify it, and then you log in, right? So that is a classic example of medium. So some suspicious activities are observed, but I won't block the user. High, basically highly suspicious activities are observed, but we are still not absolutely sure yet. So if I am observing that, say this in Chandol area when someone is placing orders, usually they are fraudulent. That means they are placing high amount orders and the orders are getting stolen. But there can be genuine users here as well, right? So in that case, what I'll do is I'll set it up for manual reading. You can make a call to that person saying that did you place this order? If he verifies it, then you process it. So that way you can handle it. Critical is basically when we are absolutely saying that this is a fraudster, some kind of fraud has performed. In that case, you can straight away deny it. Say that this is Nepal and someone from Kenya is placing an order. That is definitely a fraudulent one. So any of the rules that match up and we are identifying that this is a fraud, in that case we deny them. Now here I am just sharing a real world case study. Recently we had a customer on his account continuously fake registrations were happening. So every 4 minutes a fake account was getting created continuously, every 4 minutes. So the problem rise to such a high level that he was getting 4,000 fake accounts, and he was running campaigns on all of those accounts saying that we have this offer, we have that offer, please log in. And as you know, each marketing attempt involves some cost. So it was costing him heavily. Even at a point what happened was his website went down for 30 minutes. It was a WooCommerce store. So then that is when they contacted us. And as soon as they installed the plugin, we start tapping it. And we were observing that around 4,000 fake accounts were getting created. So the first thing that he did was he blacklisted the IPs. Some 4 IPs were getting repeatedly used. And as soon as the rules were added, you can see that the fake accounts went to 0 on 14th and 15th. As soon as the fake registrations went to 0, the fraudster observed that there was some change. So it tweaked something in the script. So then what happened was, I think it was an adaptive bot. It basically started changing information. He had a bot farm, he had a big database of IPs and devices. On each and every attempt, IP, device, everything was changing. And slowly again fake registration started. It started with 1,000, then 1,500, 2,500, and went to again 3,000, and again it started to go again 4,000, 5,000 fake accounts. So now this became a very big problem for them. So now what they did was they implemented AI-based bot detection for them. It observed a pattern. 1 hour attack was happening, 1 hour it was not happening. Again, 1 hour it was happening, 1 hour it was not happening. And even within that hour, there was a certain pattern that was repeating. So one attack happens, after 3 minutes the another attack, then again after 4 minutes, then again 2 minutes, there was a certain pattern behind it. So a combination of these patterns and a combination of attempts and device information, all of that together we were able to identify a pattern behind it, and the fake registrations were stopped to 0. And at the same time, when a genuine user tried to create account on the platform, they did not face any hurdle. Without any friction, the user was able to create account on the platform. You have to ensure that you can't treat each and every user like a criminal. So to maintain a balance is very essential. So these are the various methods, but I am sharing some practical tips which you can implement right now if you have a e-commerce store. First thing anyone would say is implement a captcha, at least to weed out the bots. But how many of you like captchas? You like solving captchas? No, you don't like captchas, right? So honeypots is something that you can implement. If you don't know what is a honeypot, basically imagine that you have a form. It's asking first name, last name, and it's asking email. You introduce one more input box and you say don't fill this box. But what the bot does is it will fill all the boxes. So that can be easily tapped and identified. Contact Form 7 has a honeypot plugin, Gravity Forms has one. So you can implement this. Second is again, you implement a fraud prevention plugin which will help you in device fingerprinting, automated risk scoring, and implementing various kinds of rules as well. Implement strong password policies, don't use easy passwords. Use a secure payment gateway. You might be familiar with payment gateways. Address validators are very important. So if someone is entering any address, you have to ensure that it is a genuine address. So there are various address validators in place. What they do is basically if you have entered some gibberish address, it will say that this is not a real address and it will block it. So definitely implement address validators. The address has to be real. In one of our customers' cases, even address validators were not enough. There was a fraudster, what he used to do was basically he entered real address, and when the order came, the order used to be kept on the porch and the delivery boy used to go. The fraudster used to run and just steal the package and go home. So this is something that will definitely help, but it is not enough. It's a combination of all of these tips that we have to implement. Next is rate limiting. You can basically implement some rate limiting features, that is in one day beyond a certain amount you can't place orders, or say in one day on a certain location more than 3 orders can't be placed. So rate limiting will definitely at least help you in keeping fraud in check, in control. And lastly, monitor transactions. Monitor each and every transaction that is happening on your platform. Because if the chargebacks start kicking in, like in one of our recent examples, one of our customers, the website was based out of US, but Indian businesses were using his platform to perform fraud, and he was getting continuous chargeback and dispute requests because someone was using stolen cards. Now each dispute costed him $20. He used to provide enough evidence and he used to win, so he didn't need to refund the user back, but each dispute costed him. So you have to ensure that whenever any transactions are happening, even though everything looks good, you continuously monitor the transactions to ensure that if there is anything that is abnormal out there, we are able to easily identify and stop them. Yeah, that concludes my. If you have any queries, I would be happy to answer.
Alright, thank you, Zidane. So yeah, if you have any questions, please raise your hands. Do we have any questions? Alright. So one thing I would like to ask. So you mentioned some good points, right? My concern is about the point where you said review the orders, right? So how does that work? Because if we are to put an order to review, that's also going to build our credibility, right, as a store. Because let's say some genuine person is putting in order, but their order went into review because for some reason the order qualified for being probably in a spam. So how do we handle that?
Okay. So first thing is you can't manually review each and every order, right? So firstly you have some checks in place. So you implement a solution wherein you have some rules in place, like I given location example. If from a certain location you are identifying a lot of happening, you can accordingly flag it. Now, in our example, one of our customers specifically had an issue of shipping and billing address not matching. Yeah, that rule is available in WooCommerce as well. So when you say that shipping and billing address are not matching, only then you put it up for manually. Okay. And second thing is that you allow the order to be placed, but what you do is when you manually review them, you ensure that you get it's basically have a notification in place where you can take action right away. Because if you take too much time for reviewing it, that is still a problem. And manual. So you can repeat the question.